Hello there, people of the internet. Welcome back to another reaction video. Today I thought we could jump back into a history series, an alternative history series that's probably the best one on YouTube, hands down. The storyline, this is the Monument Mythos, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, by Alex Kansas. For those who don't know, honestly, I didn't realize how deep into it goes. I didn't realize how shallow, I'm very dumb. I understand why a lot of people got annoyed at me for certain things that I said, or I've basically watched an analysis video by Wendigoon, and that's like over 2 hours basically, him explaining the whole timeline. There's like 2 different timelines, there's certain things happening here, other things happening there. It's like loads of different puzzle pieces all over the place, and it is super confusing. But basically, from what we know, is that monuments are being built around these special trees. These special trees, don't know what they are, if they're connected to some kind of I don't know, like underworld or something. Like basically, it's just like something not natural, I would say. And people are being fed into these monuments to feed these special trees or whatever. But these special trees also have the ability to teleport you from your timeline to a parallel timeline where not everything's the same. For example, in Rockefeller Revelations, I think it was, or Tragedy, the Tree Tragedy, it's learned that these kids are teleported basically into a parallel world, but in their other world, basically, Rockefeller was president of the United States, and no, he was an oil tycoon. So basically, our timeline of events is obviously different. In their timeline, he was the president. In our timeline, he's an oil tycoon. It's super confusing. There's these 2 people who are like the daughters of this guy who's trying to basically bring down maize, they're called. There's a technology. There's a whole lot to this. James Dean is president in this, and he's an evil guy. He basically created some kind of false flag where the Anti-Dean Association hijacked his station, causing the sirens all over the country to basically erupt the loudest it possibly could, causing people's blood vessels within a certain mile range to burst. The casualties were so bad that they actually had to blindfold children and walk them basically through this freaking this pit of despair. People just basically trying to reach this siren. But then literally, I think it was a couple of days after that, Dean is freaking gathering up all these people, sending them to these monuments or whatever. Send them to these camps. In reality, send them to these monuments. They're being basically paralleled. Family members basically said that they felt different. Their personalities were different when they came back. And apparently it was so good that people willingly wanted to go to these camps. But the truth be told is that it was just a massive false flag operation to get all these people in to feed these special trees, to then advance technology a little bit. It's super confusing. There was a freaking crab. Honestly, if you guys want a full analysis breakdown, go watch Wendigoon. Okay, so this one is called Liberty Lurkers. Now that I've kind of explained literally a small percentage of the storyline here, please bear with me, because I'm really trying to look deep into this and try and get things right. But obviously not all the pieces are together, so it's a bit hard to, fit. Anyway, here's Liberty Lurkers by Alex Kansas. Sorry for the rant. Let's go. It's the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Progress is a colossal neoclassical sculpture at the entryway of the Suez Canal in Port Said, Egypt. Oh, hang on, this isn't the Statue of Liberty. Oh, no. Progress was designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, who later designed the Statue of Liberty. Oh, so okay. The Suez Canal, obviously, as well. So in Egypt, there was this thing called Giza glass, which basically, if you could slice off your any part of you, but you could still kind of control it via this. I don't know, it's super strange. The mind behind this creator, though, is absolutely genius. The following audio is an excerpt from an interview with the developer of the Suez Canal, Ferdinand de Lesseps. Many cannot name the region where my accent is derived from. I blame many years in diplomatic service for this. While my action has suffered at its hands, my understanding of human nature has not. Diplomacy, not psychology, is the true study of the mind. Today I know that there is only one genuine source of happiness. It is the source for every category of happiness. Efficiency. All happiness flows from efficiency. It is the ease of success, not the success itself, which best determines the quality of satisfaction. It was my desire for efficiency which drove me to establish the Suez Canal Company. Like the Colossus of antiquity, I wished to unite the trade of the East with the West. I wished to pull them together in the fraction of the time that it had taken for them to engage in the past. They wanted to bring them together. There is a dream I would like to share with you all, perhaps a premonition. A traveller in the distant future stands at the entrance of the Suez Canal and watches the ship drift past with rapture. The traveller realises that they have achieved true happiness, greater than that of any human being who have stood there before, for at their feet, at their place in time, the canal will have spared our civilization a total of 1,000,000 years in sailing time. Of course, we will not be there to share their realisation, and the traveller will only know us as characters in the myths of their time. But believe me, it will happen. Ships will be in service for hundreds of years longer, and sailors will spend less time reaching their destination and more time in their destinations. So this is the guy who carved the Suez Canal, basically, for trade routes. The Suez Canal is efficient, and happiness will flow from it endlessly. Thank you. Until now, what you have heard was from a speech I wrote for the grand opening of the canal. However, I did not read this speech. I could not bring myself to lie to everyone. Ooh, okay. I did not choose to build the canal. The man beneath America ordered me to. Interesting. Who's the man beneath America? Any night he can sink into my dreams. Is this what the Guardians, the Giza Guardians, are guarding in the Grand Canyon? So that, yeah, for some reason that basically they sent these Guardians, these big statued freaking things with massive Giza swords, to guard whatever is underneath the Grand Canyon. We don't know what that is yet. And basically Maya Anderson, I think her name was, who's basically trying to topple the Maze Foundation, who's this like big conspiracy freaking government who's, I don't know, hiding loads of stuff from the populace. She went to the Grand Canyon to get answers because she knew that there was something there. And she had her head cut off by one of these Guardians. And then basically her head swells. When you have your head cut off by these things, if you don't use this concoction of vinegar, it basically, your head swells. With the vinegar, it places it back to a normal size so that you can like fit it onto other things. But basically in that video, I think it was Maze Movie Maker or something, you see in the Grand Canyon, it was the day out in the Grand Canyon, and you see that little like meatball thing come from behind one of the boulders. And then in the video Fallen Father, like it's basically about Nathaniel Arnoldson. I think did I say Anderson? No, it's Arnoldson. He passed away, the guy who was also trying to, take down this company. And then in that video, you see the shadow of what is believed to be Maya, who is this person's auntie who's filming. It's very confusing. There's a lot of characters, a lot of moving parts to this series, but it is fantastic once you actually get going with it. But sorry, anyway, moving on. Any night you can sink into my dreams. Interesting. So now we're actually beginning to learn about what's actually underneath the America, I guess you could say. Animation by the Advocates for the Division of America. ADA. No, that's not the ADA. The ADA is different things. Okay, so the forbidden fruit, is that like a biblical reference to the Garden of Eden? Was it? I don't know. What's happening? He's just floating around. Oh, is this a depiction of him falling underneath? And then rising back to a parallel universe, right? So is this the special tree, like in its infancy? So there's two parallels. So if you remember, guys, in Rockefeller Tragedy, I think it was, where Virginia Arnoldson accounts for basically what she recounts for what happened when she was struck by lightning by the special tree, where she lived for hundreds of years inside this like pocket dimension where there was the special tree, and then above that was like a reflected mirror tree, and then it was like basically looking into a mirror, like say if you got two mirrors opposite each other, and it just went on for infinity. And I think that maybe that this is what this is trying to depict. Maybe like this is the in-between. Yeah, there we go, look. So this person's growing amongst the reflections, stretching among, because there were advocates for the division of America. There was also when she was in that dimension, there were people who were trying to climb these trees, and they would get scorched every time the flash would happen, and they would like spawn in a different area, and then they would basically be all dead. It's super like fascinating for sure, and this like it's really well done. For years, it was believed that all surviving audio recordings of the infamous 1889 Liberty Lurker interview with Frederick August Bartholdi were fakes produced by American publicists. These publicists were known as Liberty Liars and would sell their false artifacts to American socialites. Wow. However, the authenticity of one audio recording continues to be disputed. It is simply known as l'Authentic Liberty Lurker. To the Providence I confess, it is a heavy burden that I cannot share with the world, but I cannot keep carrying it on my shoulders. The most difficult part, the most painful, the one that made my sleep go away and my hair go grey, was the construction of the pedestal. If you remember, the guys, inside the pedestal there was this device where it's like you get put in, an elevator comes up, some kind of like waves come from the bottom or something. You drop, the floor of the elevator drops, and then you basically plummet to your death. And it's believed that the tree or whatever this thing is feeds on human blood and basically keeps you there until it's done with you, and then it poops you out into a different timeline. And that's what these like 20 Washington absentees were. They're basically, yeah. Although the statue was intended to be a gift to the US, Ambassador regularly... Although the statue was intended to be a gift, the US Ambassador regularly encouraged us to follow President Grant's requests. President Grant. We made a deal, and each month we received varying design and size requirements for the pedestal. After 4 years, requests to change the size of the structure ceased. People often ask why the pedestal is so disproportionate to the statue. All I can tell them is, ask the Americans. They're hiding something. But I know why the pedestal is so massive, so tall. I simply cannot bring myself to tell them the truth. I am not strong enough. The truth being that I designed an abattoir. What is an abattoir? A slaughterhouse. Grant told me that he used to be normal like us. He called him the Horned Serpent, or Hanadaganiers, the devourer of villages. It was the name given to George Washington by the Iroquois. This was no coincidence. Their damned founding father locked up in my foundation. Wait, what? So, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was an episode, I think it was called something Delaware. I forgot what it's called. Washington, Delaware, I think it was called. Where these guys were traveling along the River Delaware, I think, and then they found George Washington there, basically, just floating around. So if he's in... And that was modern times, I think. So what they're saying is, that must be a different George Washington. And that's who we must have saw with the tree. That was George Washington? Wow. That's crazy. So George Washington is beneath the Statue of Liberty, feeding off of human flesh and souls. But why? And how? I'm sure you guys will probably, you know, there's a Discord that you can join for theories and stuff, which is super interesting. So what are we looking at right now? What is this? I'm just trying not to be stupid, because I've learned from past videos, I got my ass handed to me, saying that I was stupid and dumb and didn't even know what I was looking at, the monuments, blah, blah, blah. And I do apologize. I honestly am trying to do better. That is one hell of a screech. Hang on, what the frickin' hell was that? Something coming out of the top of that. Following the release of the Liberty Lurker, surveyed the environment beneath the Statue of Liberty's pedestal. Thonauts? Is that a Cthulhu kind of thing? Chthonauts are those people who like. It sounds from what I think. Hang on, is this in the description? Chthonauts, designation derived from the Greek words for underworld and sailor. So they were underworld sailors. Wow. Okay, they had a whole freaking team. They recorded the following video inside the horned serpent metastructure, colloquially, sorry, I don't know how to say that word, known as Wonderland. So Wonderland's beneath the Statue of Liberty. Chthonot designation derived from the Greek words for underworld and sailor. Okay, if I'd have waited long enough, it would have told me. Wait, is there an actual video for that? The following clip may be disturbing to viewers who are sensitive to loud noises. Okay, guys, well, it's time to turn down the volume. Prolonged exposure to music from the horned serpent metastructure may damage your brain. Oh my god. Horned serpent metastructure. So they went underneath. So this is the trees that they were referring to. Is that what they were constantly hearing when in the freaking Wonderland? That's terrifying. So is this going into the theory of hollow earth right now? That there's things living inside the earth? Like Agatha kind of thing. Whoa, it goes on and on and on, look. What is that screaming sound though? This is super well done. How do they get in? How do they get out? Oh my god, this literally is like a freaking level in the back rooms, isn't it? I hate to bring it up, but Jesus. Whoa! Flipping how? Oh my god, Alex, you are making something absolutely fantastic. Here we go. So I'm assuming George Washington tried cutting down a cherry tree, which was actually a special tree, and got sent to Wonderland from the Little Girls episode. And somehow, he must have turned into a Liberty Lurker and got caged inside the Statue of Liberty pedestal. Then they must have replaced the real Washington with a double, which fell into the river from that one other episode. Holy crap. That makes a lot of sense. And obviously they had to make a double of Washington because he was like the general. He was like the leader of the Americas, or whatever you'd call them, the colonies. Was it called the colonies? So yeah, if they found out that he was gone and dead, you know, or teleported, whatever, then the morale would probably have dropped, right? Holy crap though. I mean, I'm really trying my best to kind of understand the series, but I highly recommend watching Wendigoon's analysis. He has a whole timeline written out, and he goes through all the, current series anyway, what's series 1 basically. So please go check him out, it's fantastic. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, guys, be sure to subscribe to Alex Kansas. If you enjoyed my reaction, subscribe to me, hit the notification bell, leave a like rating, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.